everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Tonight we're going to have some fun with a paper cutter and some cardstock, and we're going to make a couple of slice and dice cards. Now, we've done cards similar to this using dies, but tonight we're just going to use a simple paper cutter. This way, anybody, even if you don't have special dies for this, you can do this anytime, anywhere. And then after the live, because I don't even know what cards I'm going to make yet, but after the live, I'm going to take pictures of those cards, and then I'm going to drop them into a template with the measurements so that you can print that out, and you'll always have the measurements for all three styles of slice and dice cards that I'm going to show you tonight. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
welcome
how are
everybody. Slicing and dicing over there.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have had my Edward Scissors hand.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Slicing and dicing. You got room for any shards in that operation?
It kind of has a shard theme going.
That's
for sure.
All right, I'm paying attention.
And in fact, when I was making the thumbnail for tonight's video, I was taking pictures, and I thought, should I hold like dicing knives? And then I thought, maybe not. That might get banned from YouTube. It might look like a weapon.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, do you have a word of the day later?
I have a twofer.
Oh, good.
Today.
Good. Well, I'm sure everybody is looking forward to that.
We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, there are those. Okay. Well, a slice and dice card is basically a card where you can use pattern paper for this, or you can create your own background or design, and then you're going to slice up that card and create a layout using the sliced up pieces. So it's going to kind of resemble a postage kind of grid, except we're going to do this all with a paper cutter. So to get started, let's get a piece of cardstock. So I'm going to start with some white cardstock here. Now, I'm a little close there. Let's see if I can back up a bit so it's not too close. Oh, and guys, by the way, Brianna's not here tonight. So I did link, it's pinned to the bottom, I did link our website for those of you that are new and you always want to know, the newer people always want to know, where can I get these products? You can click the website link at the bottom, and everything that I'm using here tonight is available on our website at ginakdesigns.com. Okay, so I have a half sheet of cardstock here, and I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to do another one too, because like I said, I'm going to make 3 cards tonight. And I know that sounds very ambitious, but these cards aren't super difficult to make. And we're going to use stencils that are very, very easy to use. All right, so I got myself a brand new sticky mat. Just wanted a new one. You know how sometimes they just get so covered with ink, and I just wanted a fresh one. So I'm going to grab that and a few of my blending brushes here. And I have a couple of stencils to choose from. Now I have the Magnificent Magnolias that we've used before. I have the Mega Bloom. I also have the Layered Peony and the Winter Rose. So I think for this one, I'll use the Mega Bloom. We haven't used this one in a while, and I think this one would be fun. This is the reason why these are going to go fast is because these are really big layering stencils, and they're very easy to quickly create a design. So I'm going to pop a piece of cardstock on here, and I'm going to start with layer 1 of this Mega Bloom, and I'm going to put that right here off to the side like this. Let's just get it right in there like that. Okay. And then I'm going to use some powder blue for my first color. And I'm going to get my ink stand. That's the only thing I can't link tonight because I am not, I don't have the ability to do links right now while I'm live. But it's all right. If you watch any of our other videos, you will find Brianne's link to her ink stand. And it's just the ink stand shop. Schrock.com, so you'll be able to find it. All right, so I'm going to start with some powder blue because we're going to work with blues for this first card. And I'm going to start right in the center of this Mega Bloom flower. And I'm going to go in one direction and then the other direction. I'm going to keep working my way out in a big circle. I always like to go back to the center again. And now I'm going to just kind of go out toward the edge of these flower petals. This is such a fun flower design. These big stencils were all designed by my daughter Alicia. She does all of the details for me for these stencils. And so she puts all the layers in. And I love these big layered stencils. They're so easy to work with. And they're really fun for this kind of slice and dice card. Now, if you don't have layered stencils, you can stamp a background. You can stamp a big floral design and color it. So you don't have to do stenciling if it's not your thing. So don't worry about that. All right, so there we have our first layer. Okay. And then I want to see where these leaves fall. So these leaves are going to fall like that. I want all that greenery in there, but that's going to help me figure out where to put my second flower, because I want to put another flower. So I'm going to put another flower right up here, like that. And that's just an easy way to make sure that you're still going to have room for your leaves. And I'm going to go ahead, I love getting a new sticky mat, but just the thought of getting ink all over it. You can wash your sticky mat with a tidy towel, a damp tidy towel, and just water. You don't want to use any chemicals or anything else on it or it will stop sticking. And a clean mat, as long as there's no ink to transfer, is perfect, even though you're still going to have some stained color on there. That's just normal. Okay, so now we did powder blue. Next I'm going to do some blue denim. I'm going to use the same blending brush for the blue denim. And we're going to go with this second layer. And this is going to put in some of our details. So I'm going to line that up over my first layer here. Pretty easy to see. And then we're going to go in with this darker blue. Blue denim is a great color. It's not navy, but it's deep, but it's still very vibrant. Okay, so there we go. We've got some of that blue denim on there. And now I'm going to pop this layer right on here. Just get it lined up. It's pretty easy to see. And for those of you that are curious about when our next release is, because I know that's always one of the questions that we get, it is next Tuesday night, the 21st. So mark your calendar. We're going to have beautiful everyday stamp sets by our illustrators. And then we're going to have a special Christmas in July card kit for those of you that like having a Christmas in July thing going on. So definitely join us for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And there's details on our Facebook page and our Facebook group and on Instagram. And I'll throw something up here on my community page on YouTube too, so you guys have the info as well. All right, so now we're going to add these green leaves around the perimeter. So I'm going to start with Jelly Bean. I'll do some Jelly Bean. You could do any of the greens. The spruces also look really nice for this. And if you're worried, you can always cover this up, with a Post-it note or something, just so that you don't go off the edge. But I think there's a lot of room there. Okay, so there's some of my greenery. Now let's see if I can get a little bit more greenery up here. Now what I'm going to do, as you can see, I'm going to have a little overlap on that leaf right there. I'm not too worried about it because it's just a tiny bit. But if it was really bad, I would mask it off. And I think I can really get around it by just fading out to almost white here. I'm not worrying too much about that little bit of overlap. Like that. Now for here, I want to do something only because I don't know what you're going to see. So I'm going to add a little bit more greenery here. And I'm not going to worry too much about that because I know that I'm going to cut that off. So I'm going to add a little bit of green up in here just to have that corner filled in. And I think the rest of it is going to be just fine. So now I'm going to add the second layer of green. Let me find the writing on the bottom here. And for this layer, I'm going to go a little darker. I'm going to go with fresh asparagus. Let's get that lined up right, though. The one thing about a brand new sticky mat is they are sticky. So they do grab your stencil a lot better, but sometimes you're still trying to position it and it's already starting to grab. Maybe I'll use grass green instead of fresh asparagus. Okay. So add some grass green. Oh, that's a nice color combination. Grass green is awesome. It's a great color. It's not quite as dark as fresh asparagus, but it definitely gives that good layer in there. Isn't this fun? Love this stencil. Let's line it up a little better than that. Maybe I should put my blending brush down. There we go. And welcome everyone who's just joining us. It's great to see all of you coming in. We're very excited to have you here tonight. Okay. And then, I don't know what I did over here, but I think I could probably, I think I flipped it over. I don't think it's even going to matter because I'm going to be trimming most of that off. Okay. So there we go. We've got our main floral design. Now, with the sticky mat, you just want to roll the mat like that to pull off that cardstock. Now, there are 3 different layouts I want to show you tonight. I want to show you a 4-up slice and dice. I want to show you a horizontal slice and dice. And I want to show you a vertical slice and dice. So for this one, why don't we do the 4-up? Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get a complementary piece of cardstock. So that's going to be this blue denim. I'm going to use this blue denim as my main color for my card base. Now these cards are a little different for me because I'm not using my traditional black layer that I always do. So it's going to be a little bit different, but that's okay. Different is fun, right? And you want to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's pretty close. Let's see if this one's a little better. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I told you guys I always take the miscut stuff, so I don't have really good right angles. Okay, now we're going to trim this piece down for the 4-up. We're going to trim this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to take just a little bit off the top here. I'm going to take like 1/8 of an inch off the top, and then I'm going to take another 1/8 of an inch off the bottom. So to get that to 5 1/2. But the bottom line is you want it to be 5 1/2 this way by 4 1/4. So, I'm sorry,
You said 4.
By 4. Yes, by 4. Thank you. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just take 1/8 of an inch off each side to get it to 4, just because I want to kind of clean up the sides. But the bottom line is the card is now 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now, we're going to take this Yeah, I'm going to make the template. Don't worry. You guys will have all these measurements, and I won't say anything wrong in the template, I promise. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to cut it in half again. Now 4 is easy to measure, right? Because half of 4 is 2. So we're going to cut that at 2 inches. 2 inches. There we go. 2 inches. And then half of 5 1/4 is 2 5/8. So the way I find 2 5/8 is I go to 2 1/2 because 2 1/2 is 2 4/8. So I go to the 2 1/2 inch mark. Let me zoom in so you can see this. All right. So I go to that 2 1/2 inch mark, and then I just go up 1 more eighth of an inch. So I went from 2 4/8 to 2 5/8. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this panel. Start at the 2 1/2 inch mark and go up a full eighth of an inch. And now I have my 4 even panels. Now I'm going to take this and I am going to position these onto my blue denim piece. And you're going to be able to see what this looks like. Now what I like to do is I like to lay it out first before I tape anything down. Make sure that everything looks even. So I want to have an even amount from the side and an even amount on the center. Now that is very symmetrical, right? You see the whole design, but you've got that little bit, I know I moved it, but you see the whole design as one whole piece. Now, you might want to do this as, Tom, what was that toy that we used to have when we were kids? And it was like it was like our iPhone in the car. It was a little toy and it had little squares and we shuffled all the squares around. And then we tried to make the picture. Do you remember that toy?
Oh, I don't remember the name of it.
But you guys remember that, right? I'm sure a lot of people here remember. So you could do that if you want. You could mix these all up so that they're not the same. And then you'll have more of a kind of a cool mosaic look, almost like if you broke dishes or something and then you were trying to put them all back together in like a different look. Maybe get a piece of green over here and then something with a little blue over here. So that is really fun and cool too and interesting. So I'm going to do this because I feel like this looks, yeah, the puzzle block toys, exactly. Yeah, I loved those when I was a kid. You know, I had one and we'd go on like a 5-hour ride and I would just do that in the back seat. Nobody remembers the name. If you see the name, Tom, let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and put this together this way instead of having everything perfectly organized. And then I'm going to look at it and see exactly how far in things need to be. Now, if your edges are consistent around, but your insides are a little bit skinnier, that's fine. Just make sure that all of your inside pieces line up so this looks perfectly straight and this looks perfectly straight. So I'll start here at the top. And I like using the Gina K Designs Adhesive Dot Runner. And the reason I like using it is because it's forgiving. So if for some reason one of these is a little bit crooked, you'll still have a little bit of time to reposition it. So now I'm going to look at this and make sure that I've got even on the sides and the top, and then the top and the bottom of this block here. That looks pretty good. Okay. Maybe not perfect, but better than horrible. Let's move this one. See what I mean when I say there's like a little wiggle room here? You can take it off without destroying it. And we'll just get that right there like that. Okay. Now we're going to put these other ones on. A slide puzzle. There we go. A slide puzzle. Thank you, Mona. Slide puzzle. They were so fun. And now I'm looking mostly in here to make sure it looks about the same distance apart, and then lining up the edge here to make sure that looks even. And then we'll add our final one. You can use press and seal if you're really good, but what I do sometimes when I'm using press and seal is I put the press and seal down and then everything shifts a little bit. That works really good for me for floral designs, but it doesn't work as good when I'm absolutely trying to line things up and get them super straight. It's okay for a little bit of a looser design for me, but that's me. If you have luck with that, it's a really cool tool. And if you've never seen press and seal, I've used it before to like pick up floral designs after I've arranged everything. I pick it up and then I put everything on the back all at once. You could definitely do that. Okay, so now I'm going to use just a white card base for the back of this. And I'm going to cut this to 4 1/4 by 11. And let me find my score tool. And then I'm going to score this at 5 1/2. And you can also use a blue denim card base if you prefer. But you know, I have more white cardstock than I have my colors, so that's just going to go on top and you're not going to see it anyway, but then on the inside you're going to be able to write on the white panel. And then we'll pop a greeting on that. We can embellish it. You could use a big die cut greeting on this if you want. Okay, and there is our card. You can write on the inside, and then we'll pop a greeting on here in the center. I'll do the greetings toward the end so that you can see them all. Yes, the slide puzzles were in the loot bags at birthday parties. That's so true. I used to put them in my kids' bags for their friends for their birthday parties. Oh, the analog days. Don't we all long for that a little bit? Like, I don't know. Okay, so now the next one that we're going to do, we'll finish up the cards at the end. I've got another piece of cardstock here that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And now I'm going to use I'll use the Winter Rose. Winter Rose is a good one. So this is another big stencil that my daughter Alicia designed for us. And we're going to do kind of the same thing. We'll do a rose here. So basically I'm just doing like 2 flowers on each page. On each thing. And I'm going to use Dusty Rose for this. Let me find Dusty Rose. There's Dusty Rose. Okay. And I'm going to use, oh, you know what? I'm not going to use Dusty Rose yet. I'm going to use Innocent Pink. I want to start with Innocent Pink. So this is going to be Innocent Pink and Dusty Rose. Okay, so we'll start with Innocent Pink. All right. So this is a nice color combination. If you don't have this one, but you have the light and medium carnation, you'll get a similar look. Other great color combinations for this rose are light cranberry and medium cranberry, the orchids. Of course, you could do blue roses if you want. They would be beautiful. All right, so we're going to do a second rose. But before we do, I'm going to lay down this big leafy stencil just to see where my leaves are. All right, so once I have that in place and I know where all these leaves are, then I'm going to turn the stencil. So here's the way the stencil was here. I'm going to turn it 1/4 turn and then another 1/4 turn. So I'm going to turn it 180 degrees, and I'm going to put it right there. Make sure that I'm not on that flower, on that leaf, and I'm not. So once I have that in place, then I can pull this stencil away, and I can do this flower here. So the reason why I just didn't randomly turn it is because when I do the layer, it'll make it easier for me to figure out how to line it up if I know I turned it exactly 180 degrees as opposed to just willy-nilly. We don't want any willy-nilly tonight. No willy-nilly. Okay, so now there's the innocent pink. Now we're going to do the second layer, and we're going to do the second layer with Dusty Rose. We have to ink up the rose with something called Dusty Rose. And hi, everybody. I see people coming in and saying, hi, sorry I'm late. Don't worry. No pressure. Because I'm doing this part of the technique like 3 times here, you're going to be able to see it. And then all the measurements for these slice and dices are going to be in a template that I'm going to create for you when I get home tonight. All right, so there we go. There's layer 2. Remember, 180 degrees. That will make it a lot easier to line it up. And we'll do layer 2. Yes, the yellow rose of Texas. Yellow roses are gorgeous. You certainly can do that. I've never been one to say, you know, oh, I can't do that peony in blue because there are no such thing. This is crafting. You can do any such thing you want. It can be your own such thing. Okay, so now we're going to go back to that green, and we're going to start with jelly bean. We'll do jelly bean and grass green for all of these just because the ink pads are out already. It makes it easy. And then I'm just going to grab a paper towel here because I did use the same brush for both colors, and I just want to brush off any of that grass green that might still be on there. Yes, Barbara, the next release party is coming up next Tuesday night. All right, so we're getting our jelly bean on here. Now, I already feel nervous about the top there, about going over the edge. So I am going to take a Post-it note, and I'm going to block that off before we have an accident. I don't want to have an accident. So you, again, if you're just joining, you can use anything you want. You don't have to use these layering stencils. You don't have to use layering stencils at all. You can use stamps. You can use pattern paper for this technique. I'm just using some stencils because I think it's kind of fun, and I like these big designs because they're quick and easy. So we're going to do layer 2 here with grass green. And then I'm going to add something over here and something up at the top there. So we're doing grass green next. Okay, there we go. Oh, isn't that such a pretty stencil? It's so simple, 4 layers, but it's so beautiful when you get it all on there. Now, we could add some greenery here. So, you know what? Let's add a little bit more pink. So, this is the way I was holding this rose. Now I'm going to turn it just a quarter turn. And I'm going to add a little bit more pink right here. So, we'll go back to the innocent pink. Again. Add a little bit of that in there. You could also do this one with a whole different color. You can bring in those yellow roses of Texas, or you can do red with this. It would be beautiful. So don't feel obligated to make them all pink or all one color. Now we're going to add.
Christy wants to know, would a tone on tone be just as pretty?
Oh, absolutely. It would be beautiful. You could definitely do tone on tone. Okay, so now here's layer 2. I did turn it a quarter turn, and we'll get that dusty rose in there. You can see how these colors dry back when they dry and how they smooth out. That's because we have a smoothing agent in our ink, and that really does make a difference. Now I'm going to add a little more green up here. So I'm going to just add, I'm going to turn it like on a little angle right there, because I'm going to cut that off. So we're just going to add that little angle. And I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I am going to worry about this. Okay. Okay, and then I see where my winter rose is marked right there, and I'm at this angle. So I'm going to find where my winter rose is marked on this one, and I'm just going to find that angle. But it doesn't really matter. You know, you could do whatever you want here. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. I just want to get a little bit of that darker green in there. And however you want to do it is totally fine. I think I'll do it right like that. Because remember, that's going to get cut off. And then I'm going to put a little bit of green right here. So I'm going to go right up here with this one. Right in there. And here's where, down here is where my winter rose is. So I just have to kind of remember where that is. We'll go with the light green first. And I could have done all the jelly bean ones first and then gone back and added all the grass green. But my brain, you know, I kind of remember the angle that I was holding something at, and I don't want to forget. So this is just easier for me to do it this way. And that's these two right here. We'll put those right in there just to get that darker green. Watch the whole thing. I'll end up cutting all of that off anyway, but you know, just I have to know it's there. Okay, so now we've got that nice busy rose pattern, and that's the winter rose stencil. And we're gonna chop this one up now. We're gonna dice it, slice and dice. Now for this one, let's do a horizontal, no, let's do the vertical design for this one, because for the horizontal one, I'm actually going to turn the cardstock in a horizontal way so I know my flowers are going to look good. Okay, so this is grass green and jelly bean green, and this is innocent pink and dusty rose. So here's the colors. If you want a screenshot of that right there, there's the colors that I used. Okay. And don't worry, you can always go back and rewind and grab a screen grab of it if you want. Now, for this, I said I was going to do the vertical design. I'm going to do the vertical one, so it's going to be the one that's going across this way. So for vertical, we're going to cut this panel down from the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And again, you don't have to worry about remembering that. All right, so 3 3/4, here we go. It's so scary to cut it once you made it. But remember, you can always use it for something else if you mess it up. So I'm at 3 3/4, okay, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So that would be right there, 5 1/4. Okay. Now that's kind of an odd measurement, but it's because we need to create our spacing. And we're going to cut each of these, because this is 3 3/4 across, we can divide it by 3, and we can do 3 panels that measure 1 1/4 inches. All right, these are just standalone stencils, right? Yes, they don't coordinate with dies or anything. These are just standalone stencils. Okay, so I'm going to cut this to 1 1/4 inches. Now, this is a little hard for me to do right here. It's not impossible, but it's a little tricky for me. So if that's tricky for you too, and you don't like trying to like get it real close to the edge, what you can do is you can measure 1 1/4 inches down from where you are. So 3 3/4 to 2 3/4 is 1 inch, and then adding another 1/4 of an inch takes you to the 2 1/2 inch mark. And that will cut you down to a panel that measures 1 1/4 inches. So that's, you still have to do this one in the end anyway, but at least one is easier. Okay. So we're going to do 1 1/4 inches.
Jane would like to know, would this technique work on slimline cards?
Well, you'd have to figure out what all the measurements are for slimline cards, because it's definitely each type of card and size card is going to be different. Now, here we could separate these just like that if we want it to be consistent going across, or we can do the slide puzzle technique where it's just kind of messed up like that. And I like that better. I don't know why my eye is like drawn to that, because it's just messy and it looks kind of crazy. And I like that. I like it like that. All right, so I'm going to put this onto a piece of Dusty Rose cardstock. Now, if you didn't want to use Dusty Rose for this, you could also use, we're going to go way outside of this color palette, and we're going to take a look at fresh asparagus. A fresh asparagus would be really pretty too.
Can I see something? Can you turn the one in the middle upside down?
This one?
Yeah, just want to see it. Okay.
Do you like it?
No, I like it the other way.
Okay.
Just curious.
Yeah, I know. That's part of the fun. Now, this could be a horizontal card. You can always do it this way if you want. But when I think of the horizontal card, I think of it facing this way, but having more slices going across. So that's kind of what I'm showing you. Any of these cards can be used horizontally or vertically. Even this one, right? This could be done as a horizontal card. But we're calling this one the vertical one. You can always turn it, but we're calling it the vertical one. All right, so do we like the fresh asparagus, or do we like the Dusty Rose? I feel like the Dusty Rose just makes the pink just disappear, and it doesn't look as striking anymore as it does up against the darker color. And you could go way off the grid here and do something totally different, like Stormy Sky, and that might make the colors pop a little bit more. If you wanted to do something like a gray, because pinks and grays are always so pretty. This is a little hard to see because my tabletop is gray, but you can see what it would look like if we had it on something. So what do you think, Tom? Which is your favorite look?
I personally like the gray.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, because I love the gray. I love the gray. So we're going to go with the gray. I know, shocker, right? So we're going to go with the gray. And then we're going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're using all A2s here. So first I'm going to cut the piece in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. And then we're going to turn it at the 4 1/4 inch mark. So this is just an A2 card base. But I am going to pop this whole thing onto a white piece of cardstock just so that it's easier for you guys to see how this all looks. All right. So now to line this up, the easiest way to line this up is to turn it sideways like this and do the bottom first. Do the bottom first. And we're going to get that into position. Even all the way around. And remember, we can always pick these up if we don't love what we see. Okay, now I'm going to flip it and I'm going to do this one, this side over here, same way. I can't remember, was it this way? Yeah, it was this way. So I'm doing this one the same way. And once you get that locked in, now you can evenly space this third one between them. If you work your way over, it's harder to evenly space them, and I guarantee you there'll be too much on this side hanging off or too much on this side hanging off. So just start on one side, then do the other side, and then you can work your way in. Now, if you feel like I want them to be a little closer in the center, so I can move this whole thing just in a little bit. And I can do that on the other side too. Oh, but I gotta make it even top and bottom.
Laura wants to know, do you make the sentiment gray too?
You could if you wanted to. Sure, why not? You can do whatever you want. I think I'll make it black just because I really want it to jump out, but, you know, or even slate would be good. But you definitely could. All right, so now I've got that there like that. Now, I didn't have any tape under this corner. I needed a place to like pull if I needed to. Now, I can evenly space.
Well, you really ripped those things off without any hesitation.
I'm not afraid.
She was great with the kids and Band-Aids.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they didn't like that very much, but you know, it's better to rip it off than to dilly-dally. Okay. So, and I'm gonna, this is kind of sticking up here a little bit too from where I pulled on it, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more tape there and press that down. So there we go. That is our vertical card. Could be used horizontal if you want, either way, but we're calling this one with the 3 up the vertical one. So we've got the 4 up and we've got the vertical. Now let's do the horizontal one. One more, and then we get to add our greetings to these cards. So who's going to try this? Are you guys excited to try this? I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
They're slicing and dicing out there.
Yeah, slicing and dicing. Okay, so now we're going to use one more big one. We're going to use the layered peony. So this is another very big stencil. It has 1, 2... see, what do we have here? It's only got 2 layers. That makes it easy. 2 layers, but that's because the layers are separate. I don't know if I want to do that or I want to do the marigold. I mean, not the the magnolia rather. Which one do I want to do, Tom? Do I want to do this one? Yeah, I'll do this one. It's so pretty. Look how delicate that is cut. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so we've got blues, we've got pinks. Let's go to purples. So let's use, where are my purples? Here they are. Let's use light lilac and medium lilac for this one. Let me grab my lilac brush. Okay. So again, this one's definitely going to need a little bit of help from a Post-it note. So we're going to pop this one here, like this. And then I'm also going to put a Post-it note right here to kind of protect the leaves. There we go. All right, so we're going to start with the light lilac. And I don't know that I've ever seen a peony that's this color, but maybe they're out there. I don't know. There's so many gorgeous color flowers. And they're always coming up with new hybrids and new colors. I always thought it was kind of cool, like for proms and weddings, how they can just take white flowers and put the stems in like water with like food coloring in it and make the flower kind of suck up the food coloring, and then all of a sudden you have like a purple daisy or a purple carnation. Okay, so there we go. There's that. And I don't know if that's the technique, but I heard that somewhere. And now we're going to flip this. So here is the writing on there, layered peony. We're going to flip it a quarter turn, and we're going to bring this flower in on this side like that. Now for this one, I'm going to need 2 pieces of Post-it note, but none on the leaves because they're way out there. And one of the cool things is if you have some of these bigger stencils in your collection, don't be afraid to mix and match. Why not put a layered peony at the top and a winter rose at the bottom and do them in different colors? Because the more colors you bring in, the more interesting this technique becomes, because you've got color going all over the place, but it's kind of mix and match like that slide puzzle that we talked about. Okay. Now let's do layer 2 with the medium lilac. And these big flowers, they're so easy to use. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, this was one of the very first big floral stencils that Alicia designed for us. And I remember she and I, we were laughing so hard because when she cut this one, when she designed this one, this leaf down here, it also had a line going around the outside. And when we got it, it was, both of them were empty like this one. And we were just laughing. We learned a lot on that first stencil together. How things just fall out if you don't have the right, they're complicated to design. I didn't even think of it. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be really cool. And then when we got it, all the detail was gone. And we're like, where's the detail? And we were laughing and going, oh yeah. All right, so there's layer 2 of the flower. Isn't that pretty?
And the name of this stencil again?
This one is called Layered Peony. Okay. And I'll put all the information in the description here on YouTube. So everything that I use in today's video will, be in the description. The reason why I don't put everything that I use ahead of time is because I don't know what I'm going to use. I'm not a very prepared card maker. And I change my mind so much. Because, you get in a mood or a moment and you're like, no, that, it would really look good here. And then you change your mind. Okay. So there we go. Now we're going to add the green. So, let's see, where would this green go? I'm going to find the spot right there. That's where the green goes. Right in there. So again, we're going to just block off the flower and we're going to put the green in here. So we're going to stick with the same greens just because they're easy. Again, we're going with jelly bean and then grass green for the details. So we'll start with jelly bean. All right, there's jelly bean. And then that would be off to that side, so we don't really have anything for there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some leaves here like this. So we'll add some greenery. First, yeah, let's add all of the leaves in here first. So I'm going to hide this. Very scary right along the edge. So we've got that. Then we'll add another one coming in from over here. Remember, we're going to chop this all up, so we've got some green coming in there. And then we'll add another leaf coming in from this side, just to fill that in. Okay, now we're going to add layer 2 to all of this. Layer 2, we're going to use the grass green, which is just a little bit darker. This is a dirty stencil, so it does make me nervous, but okay. Let's see here. Let me line this up with this one. Okay, got it. Got it. So that's there, and that's there like that. Okay, got it. Good. And now we'll add the detail onto these. Love that. And remember, the other thing that you can do with these big layering stencils is you can clean them and you can flip them upside down, and then you can have the flowers facing in opposite orientation too. Same with the leaves. So you can mix and match leaves between stencils. You can add different flowers between stencils. And then you can also flip the stencil over and get the opposite orientation. So these stencils are super fun to use and very, very versatile. All right, so there is our finished panel. And now we're going to chop this one down. We're going to slice it and dice it and turn it into a horizontal card. Okay. You know, Tom, this one, I didn't even think. This might have been really pretty on black. So maybe we should do this one on black. Just because then I'll have one card that has my signature Gina K black layer somewhere in the mix.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. I mean, the gray is really pretty with the pink, and I like that we did that because we showed versatility, but I definitely think we should add a little bit of black. Alrighty, now we're going to trim this down, and this is going to be our horizontal one. So it could go in either direction. It doesn't matter. I think I'll go in this direction. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to cut it down to 4 by 5. So I'm going to take this part down here. I'm going to cut this to 5. And then we'll cut this one down to 4. Right now it's 4 1/4. I'm just going to take an 1/8 inch off either side. And 4. So 4 by 5. Right there, 4 by 5. Now, let's get a black quarter sheet of cardstock, because we'll make this one black. Yes, we always need a little black, exactly. So I'm going to cut it in half first, and then now it's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Four 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay. So now we're going to cut these down to 1 1/4 inches each. Now, if you're scared to cut this down, I want to just show you a little trick that's kind of nice if you've got our tape runner or a low tack tape runner, or you can even use something like Masking Magic for this or Pixie tape. Let me get some Pixie tape. I'm gonna do this with Pixie tape. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just cut this piece of cardstock to the 5-inch mark here. And then I'm going to cut it down to 4 and then take another 1/4. I'm going to do, this one measures 1 1/4 inches. Okay? This is how big I need all of these strips to be. But it's a hard measurement to cut right up against the edge. So what you can do is you can take a little Pixie tape and you can take this piece of cardstock right here and go right to the edge. Okay, right to the edge. And then you can tape that down. And then you can use that as your guide. So you can go right up to the edge of that black panel, making sure that that stays straight along this side here. Let's see, I think I want to put it on the other side. I was doing this earlier and it worked out really well, but I did use my tape runner. So maybe I'll use my tape runner just because I feel better about that, because I can use more of it. Okay, so I'm going to put this right along the edge here, right up to the edge. Like that. Okay, and now I'm going to butt that up against there so I can feel it, and I'm going to cut. And that'll give me a 4 1/4 inch strip. Now I can put it back on here again. Make sure it's right up against the edge. And then I can do the same thing again. So I can feel it. It falls off the edge. Let me show you on the bottom. It falls off the edge, and then you could feel it butt up against the blade. So it's just real easy to line up. I can do it again. Right up against the edge of the paper. And then you'll be able to feel it, just that black piece just hits the edge and it stops. And now you've got 4 pieces that are all the same by using this little guide. It helps. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how this is going to look the best. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate the green on here like that. Now that's one way. We can also remember what it looks like when it's all lined up nicely. Here we go. Can we remember that? Yeah, we can. Here we go. So that's the way it would look if it was all lined up nicely, so you'd be able to see it. So I don't know if you want to do one that's all lined up nicely like that, so you could see it with the little black space in between, since we did the other ones all haphazardly. So why don't we try that? Okay, so we're going to start by lining this one up down here at the bottom. And then we're going to do this one up here on this side. And then that will give us the spacing in here to make everything look even. Okay? So we'll start down here. So we'll do this one all lined up, because I think that's everybody was saying. Yeah, all lined up nicely. Okay. So we'll get that in place. And again, we can move these around. We can rip them off like a Band-Aid if we have to. That's the beauty of this dot runner, is that it's forgiving. Before it sets permanently, you've got a little bit of wiggle room. You can pull it off, you can move it around, and I like that. Okay, now these two are going to get placed so that they're perfectly spaced in between. So I like to lay one in the right spot and then tape the other one once I know that I've got my spacing pretty good. So I'll leave that in place. That'll help me line this one up. All right. There we go. Looks pretty good. And then we'll line this last one up. Yes, black cardstock. What will we do without it, right? Okay. And then we'll get this one in place. Can line it up at the bottom first and then kind of wiggle it into place. That looks pretty good. Better than horrible. Let me just... There we go. There we go. Okay. So that's the horizontal one. So we've got the vertical one, we've got the 4-up, and the horizontal one. So I'm going to give you all of these measurements, and we need to put this one onto a card base. So I got one more white card base here. I don't think I put the other one on a card base either. I can even wait on that. Why don't we go ahead and put some greetings on these, and we'll die cut those greetings and pop them up, and then we'll have some finished cards to share. So I'm just going to take a 1/4 sheet of white cardstock here, and I thought the greetings from, where is my Misty? Oh, here it is. I'm going to see, when you put things back in the wrong spot. All right, I'm going to pick greetings from the I really like this set, this Elegant Thoughts set. I think this would be a good one to use. So we can just have like a little get well soon on this. We can pick Grateful for You, and we can do Happy Birthday. So we'll have 3 different looks. So somebody was mentioning would I stamp in gray. I don't know that I'd stamp in this gray because I feel like it's kind of light, but I would stamp in blue denim because that's a nice dark color. So I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday in blue denim, and then maybe I'll use a darker gray for the gray one, and then we'll go with black for the black one. You know, and the other thing that we can do is, if you don't like blue denim, if you don't feel like that's dark enough, you can always go to navy. So we can go down a shade in darkness to still kind of play off of that blue, or down a shade in darkness for the gray. So we'll do a Grateful for You, and we'll use slate for this. Slate is almost black. It's very dark, but it dries up just a little bit from black, and you'll be able to see the difference once all of these images dry. So you'll see it has a blackish hue. That's the best way I can describe it. That looks black, but once it dries, you'll notice that it's not black. Or you'll be thinking, if you use this and you were trying to achieve black, you probably would say, oh, I think I'm going to re-ink my black ink pad because it doesn't feel dark enough. So we'll do Get Well for the other one. These are great greetings, and they're a nice size for this, and they won't take away too much from the whole busyness of the background. All right, so I'm going to die cut these, and while I'm die cutting these, I see people saying, we need the word of the day, we need the word of the day. So what do you think, Tom?
I think it's time for...
Word of the day, oh hey, hooray, let's laugh it up, don't delay. Word of the day, it's here to stay.
Okay, now, as most of you know, towards the end of most of Gina's videos, she will put on embellishments, and we call that blingering. That's an old word of the day. Blingering, and here's the sound of blingering. But you know what it's called, Gina? If you use more than one color or like two different styles of embellishments,
What is that called?
if you're doing that, then you are bilingual. Bilingual. You use two different ones at the same time. You can converse in two different embellishment styles. And of course, if you go the next step,
Oh, no.
you're multilingual. Multilingual is you just use a whole bunch of different embellishment colors and sizes. And way back to the dead space.
Bilingual. It's a good word. It's a good word of the day. I like it. All right, well, we almost have these cut out. And this slate is lightening up just a little bit. The name of the greeting set that I'm using is called Elegant Thoughts. Elegant Thoughts. And it's got a, what's nice about this one is it's got a die set that cuts out all of the greetings, but you can also get coordinating poly glaze for this one. So if you want to foil these greetings, you can foil them with the poly glaze sheets, and then you can cut them out with this same die set. So it's pretty versatile. I really thought I cut this happy birthday out better, but, you know, it's all right. Sometimes things shift a little bit. All right, so we have this card here, and we can put this happy birthday right in the center. Let's zoom in a little bit. Put happy birthday right in the center with some little foam squares, 1/4 inch. And there's lots of ways that you can accent these cards with other types of dies, frame dies. You can do your greeting in a frame. We're just going to pop these in place just so that we have them finished. But I also think that there'd be some pretty cool ways to step up the greeting part of this as well. And this technique tonight is not so much about the finished card as it is the technique. And you can always step up your finishing touches on your card a little bit more than what I have going here. But this is 3 cards. And you know, sometimes this is just enough. You don't have to always overdo it. So you could put it down here if you want, but I'm going to pop this right in the center because I feel like it's very balanced in the center. And we'll add a few little embellishments in there. Now this one, this is our vertical one, and I feel like this is, I did the grateful for you in the slate, so we'll put that off to the side a little bit like that. I think we could use a big foam square on that one. We'll use the 1/2 incher. And then we'll grab a couple small pieces here that I cut. Right there. And this just gives us a little bit of lift and dimension. We'll pop that right here. That looks pretty good right there. And that is our slate. And then finally, our horizontal one. We could pop this right down here. I don't like it this way. I like it this way. And we've got a lot of purple here, so I think it's going to be fine to pop it right in there. But again, you could put these anywhere that you feel comfortable when you're making your cards. And you can put a little more thought into this process. This is truly for the template and for the design. We'll pop that right there. Okay. And then, again, I'll pop these right onto some card bases. Like I did with this one, I just put it on a white card base. Same with these, put these on white card bases. And then we'll add a little blingy, a little blingaroo. So I think I'm gonna get these out because I definitely want to put some black on. Let me find some small ones. There we go. Okay, and I'll get my pick and stick tool.
And as an afterthought, this just wants to be a hat trick.
Wants to be a hat trick?
Wants
Okay,
to be a
let's
trifecta.
do it.
What does Gina put on her toast in the morning with her coffee when she has her coffee? Blingenberries. Blingenberry jam. Now I'm way back in the dead
You
space.
better get back there. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. Just a little bit of accent around that greeting. For this one, I might use a little silver. Or I could use gold. No, silver would be good with the gray. I don't have gray pearls, so we'll use some silvers. See if I can get some tinies in here. I do have a small assortment, but I don't have that pack with me right here in front of me. I have my 3 different size assortment, which is great too. I love having the bigger ones in here, and I do use them. So we'll put those on this one just to have a little bit of bling. And then for this one, we'll add bling here, maybe over here, and over here. And we'll do gold on this one. Just cause, do I have gold? Any little gold ones? I have some. I definitely need to replenish my bling. This is a good one too. I like this size. When I do 2 in the same area, sometimes I like to do I've got so much glue on the tip of my pick and stick tool. The good thing about the Connect Matte is you don't have to worry if you got it anywhere that you don't want it, because it definitely dries completely matte. You don't see it. And that's so nice. We'll do a small one there. Silver and blue is nice together too, though. It could have been silver. Could have used just the plain pearls. We have white pearls. Those are pretty too. A little bit harder to see. Should I add a couple more. I'll add a couple more. Put one down here. I'll put one up here. Ooh, that's a lot. Let me suck some of that glue back in the bottle again. There we go. That was a lot. All right. Trying to get it to, there we go. Trying to get it, it's like a turtle on its back. Put that there, and then I'll go with a bigger one.
Diane wants to know, what is your thinking behind placing your bling?
You know, I don't have a lot of thought process when it comes to that. I like to accent my greeting a lot when I do my bling. So, and I'm trying to be good about the rule of thirds, not the rule of thirds, the odd numbers. I'm trying to be good about doing odd numbers because odd numbers are more eye appealing. Unless you're doing something like a gatefold card or something that's a very balanced card, then it's okay really to do even numbers, I think. But, you know, others will vary. Not everybody feels exactly the same way. But there we go. So I like to just kind of go around the greeting or around the focal image just to kind of accent and draw your eye a little bit toward it. So there we go, 3 slice and dice cards. We've got our 4-up slice and dice, we've got our horizontal slice and dice, and then we have our vertical slice and dice. And I will add all of the measurements for all of these, and I'll take pictures of each of these cards, so I'll have the little card picture right by the measurements so that you're able to create your own. And you can see the difference between really mixing them up like that slide puzzle, like these two, or just keeping them exactly the way you stenciled them, but creating a little bit of space in between to just give it a little bit of interest rather than just a plain panel. That's super fun. Well, everybody, I hope that you liked these cards. Now, if you liked tonight's video, and I certainly hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, that really does help our channel. And then if you're new here, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button and then hit all notifications, you'll never miss another video. And did you know, Tom, like, I think the statistics are only like 30% of the people that watch our lives are actually subscribers. They come all the time, but they're not necessarily subscribed. So if you're one of those people, go ahead and hit the subscribe button because it really does help the channel, and we appreciate that. And then if you're not a member of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. The Facebook group is called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. You can find it on Facebook by searching that and look for the group with 51,000 members. We're all over there sharing our love of Gina K Designs products, and everybody's making projects using our stamps, stencils, dies, and more. So I hope you'll join us over there. And then, because Brianne wasn't here tonight, I wasn't able to link all of the products that I use, but I will list them in the description here on my YouTube channel, and you can find everything that I used tonight on our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, well, we're going to give away a gift card tonight. Somebody's going to take home $15 to spend. You can save it for our new release next Tuesday, or you can go spend it right away if that's what you feel like doing, or you can save it for a year. It doesn't matter. Save it as long as you want. They don't expire. All right, Tom, are you and Zeus back there ready to pick a winner?
We are. Zeus, what do you think? Hey,
Yeah, he's good.
get in on this. Look alive. It's the dead space. Okay, drum roll, please. Drum roll. Tonight's winner is Penny Schrock. Penny Schrock.
Yay,
Congratulations.
Penny. All right, Penny, congratulations. You are our winner. You get a $15 Gina K Designs gift card. All you have to do is send your name and email address over to our customer service team at info@ginakdesigns.com, and they will get that card issued over to your email. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you'll give it a try. And Tom and I will be back on Thursday with another Stamp and Chat Live at noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Until then, everyone, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and mwah, we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.